Hello and welcome to the MMA Report. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I would like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. They are one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. President Sean Rabinowitz specializes in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. He is also a proud supporter of all our shows on our podcast network, and he's going to get me a Tesla very, very soon. We have Green Street Trust International. I just talked to Renell Jump, owner and operator of Green Street Trust, and they are doing phenomenal. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large and small. To schedule, well, they will either save you money or give you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you suffered any type of personal injury, a slip and fall, a construction beam fell on you at a site, your mother-in-law tried to run you over with a car, the Finch firm is for you. Pete is not afraid of any insurance company, and he will go to war for you to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. All you have to do is go to thefinchfirm.com, and remember, if you're ever in a pinch, call Finch. Dynamic Human Performance, owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon in Hartford, Connecticut. He has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility. He trains boys and girls of all ages, of all sports. He has a new boot camp program, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. If you want to get in shape, go work with Andre. He has an athletic development program for boys and girls. You pick the sport of your choice. Andre will train you from the ground up and help you become the best you can be, reach your potential, and have an opportunity to hopefully play college sports. Andre has sent boys and girls of all sports to college on scholarship all over the country. So if you want to work with the best, go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. In contrast, down south, Julius Williams runs the Trench Mob in Decatur, Georgia, training offensive and defensive linemen. They are the best of the best, the elite. They are starting camp season, going to camps and competing. And when you are a member of the Trench Mob, you are instantly noticed by coaches. They have also competed in 5v5 tournaments, offensive versus defensive linemen. And Julius have sent kids, the Trench Mob has sent kids to schools like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Clemson, just to name a few. When you go with the Trench Mob on your jersey, that means something. When Julius talks to a coach, that means something. And you will get a scholarship. Repeat, I guarantee you will get a college football scholarship if you do as you're told by Julius, by Coach Jordan Harris, and all the members of the Trench Mob. They know what it takes to play Division I college football. They know what it takes to get a scholarship. They know what it takes to get an NIL deal. And if you want to work with the best, go to battleofthetrenches.com. The man of the hour, all he does is train, teach class, beat that ass, and then he just pounds it into submission vigorously afterwards. The Marauder, Tyler King. Tyler, how are you?
I'm tremendous. How are you, Steve?
Great weekend. Great weekend of UFC competition. UFC 316 could not have been any better.
Yes, it
It,
could have. I mean,
well, it could have, but I mean, there were surprises abound and good
surprise the
surprises.
brother. Bro, I mean, we all talk about my prowess for making the picks, but holy s, this was by far my worst weekend of UFC betting I have ever had.
Well,
Ever.
when I saw your picks, I strongly disagreed with several of them. You still went with them anyway. I believe I strongly disagreed with three of them, but you
Well,
went anyway.
I
Um,
definitely, on one in particular, I definitely let personal bias and my
yes.
heart speak instead of my head, and that really hurt me. But hey, what are you gonna do? There's only like 100 and some change. Could have been worse, but hey, what are you gonna do?
So starting the main card, Kevin Holland, who
Ooh.
was the favorite going in,
Mhm.
he uh, was a welterweight. He fought Vicente
Vicente
Luque.
Luque.
Vicente Luque. Yes, I said it correct. Welterweight. He submitted him in the second round. I saw Kevin Holland come out with a lot of energy, passion, fury, enthusiasm, and really overwhelmed his opponent. And you labeled Kevin Holland somewhat of a gatekeeper.
Listen,
He, yeah,
Kevin is super entertaining. He's got a lot of, personally, I think he's got a lot of ability. But he kind of does have that role of the gatekeeper for the upper echelon of that welterweight. He's a welterweight, isn't he? Yes.
yes, he's a welterweight. Yes,
No, he is. Yeah, well, I thought I said lightweight. Yes, he's a welterweight. That is such a stacked division,
it is.
and
It is.
he kind of has been kind of thrust in that gatekeeper role, and I'm just like looking at his record right now, and you know, I was just speaking before we were on the air. We were speaking about it, and the reason I say he has that gatekeeper role, like he's a top 15 fighter, like that's not exactly a gatekeeper, but he's kind of gatekeeper for the top 15. As man, I'm looking at this, he has nothing but studs on this schedule. Like
Yes.
you know, looking at his last big win. We're going back to
Yeah. I mean,
2021. We're going back to 2021 here. Tyron Woodley win via submission. Michael Chiesa submission. Then
yep.
lost
Yep.
decision Bilal Muhammad. Lost Jeff Neal studs. Then Rafael Dos Anjos beat him stud. Joaquin Buckley lost stud. Thamba Gorimbo. Oh, I apologize. I was looking at
Yeah.
Vicente Luque's record with a bunch of studs. Looking at Kevin Holland, he was coming off several losses in a row.
Yeah.
You're
He had
looking
two
at
losses.
he had two losses to Roman Dolidze and Renner de Reader, both both losses. Then he had a win against Gunnar Nelson. Gunner's been kind of on the downswing. And then obviously he beat Vicente Luque. So before that, he fought Michael Venom Page, lost the decision. Fought Jack Della Maladena, lost a
Split
split decision.
decision. Yeah.
Before that, beat Michael Kinsey. Before that, beat Santiago Ponzinibbio. I think I said that right.
Yep. Yep.
Before that, lost to Stephen Thompson,
Stephen Thompson.
lost to Hazmat Chimaev. Like he has just a stacked schedule, and like I said, gatekeeper role. If don't get me wrong, if Kevin Holland won 3 or 4 in a row, he'd be right in the title picture. Like he wins right now, he's on a 2-fight win streak. He wins 2 more fights, he's right in the title picture. But again, a bit of a gatekeeper, and he's also a bit of an up and down fighter. You never know which Kevin Holland you're gonna get a
You're
fight
going to
with.
get right. What was interesting to me was he won with the Anaconda.
I
I
love
don't
that. I love me the
I
anaconda
know.
joke.
I don't see it very often, so I was excited to see
I mean,
anaconda.
guy like having being a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and doing as much grappling as I have both with MMA gloves on and off. It's if you're well versed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's a great choke to set up because when you're on top, especially if you're in side control or half guard, you have to scoop under the head and get your arm all the way through under the head
Right.
and trap their arm before you come over the top with it. And Kevin, if nothing else, he's like he kind of clowns in there sometimes, but he is super creative. And like I said, he's every bit of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So I mean, it kind of fits his MO where he finds something creative and just goes with it and it hits.
So for the welterweight division, you're talking Kamari Usman, Colby Covington, Douglas Lima, Leon Edwards, Gilbert Burns. Where do you put him? Jorge
Well,
Masvidal.
you
Where do you put
missed
him?
you missed our favorite in what's it called? Bilal
Well, I
watching Paint
obviously,
Dry Muhammad and Jack
obviously
Della
him,
Maradona. I mean,
obviously
like I
those
said,
two.
Kevin's won 2 in a row. He'll probably get a top 10 guy next. He wins that fight. He's legitimately in the title picture. Like I said, the gatekeeper of the top 15.
Do you think he has the ability to win the championship, to be in the
The
title?
ability, physically, yes. Mentally, I'm just not sure. Like he's one of
Is,
the. I think he's a guy that tries not to take it all so seriously. He's like the guy with the philosophy. Oh, I fist fight for a living. I can be reckless. And I think that mentality has definitely been a detriment at times to him inside of the octagon.
it's basically, I'm good at this, I can do this, but I'm not sure that I love this.
Kind of. More like sometimes I feel like he's more concerned with entertaining the crowd as opposed to winning the fight.
Oh, okay. That
That's
that
a
makes
it's
that
a
makes more
double-edged
sense.
sword. It's a double-edged sword.
Well, yeah,
Like
you have to entertain the crowd. I agree.
eh, you gotta get the W and be entertaining. And like sometimes the path to victory sometimes is not gonna be as entertaining as being intentionally giving the crowd what they want to see or being intentionally like clowning or just being an entertaining fighter. So I think he probably has issues or he just doesn't want to do the boring stuff in order to win a fight, which I don't love to say
Which
it,
you have to
but
do. Yeah.
sometimes you have to do it.
Yeah,
Sometimes
you
you
do.
have to do it.
You do for sure. So the next fight, I believe we had a small debate about Mario Batista in the bantamweight division defeated Patchy Mix,
Yeah.
who was 20-2.
Yep.
Patchy Mix was the favorite,
Yes, he
and
was.
this went to a unanimous decision. The scoring was a little off, in my opinion. They gave Mario Batista 2 rounds, 30-27. I mean, two scores, 30-27, 30-27. Two of the judges had it. And the last judge had it 28-29, 29-28.
Okay.
That's just a discrepancy, and we've talked about that in UFC with the judging. How could it be? I mean, that seems off, in my opinion.
Well, again, Steve, like we've spoken about before, you're talking about 3 judges
Yeah.
and 3 different vantage points in the cage
Oh,
side.
okay.
So
Right. The
honestly,
vantage point.
that could play a part, and different judges interpret different things different ways. And this is actually something I wanted to like speak to you about. I have to go back because this was one of those fights where I was kind of like in and out. Like someone was talking to me, I'm doing this, I'm eating my appetizer, Dave Buster's, just I wasn't exactly socializing, but I wasn't totally into the fight. But Steve, if you have it in front of you, what was Patchy's control time?
Patchy's control time was 0.
Okay, so you're looking at a
It's
guy, Patchy Mix, who is thought of primarily as an elite submission artist, and he had zero
wow.
control time. So that really plays into it.
And
And
0 for 1 on takedowns too.
what?
0 for 1 on takedown attempts.
So this looks to me a couple things. One, you know, I don't want to talk down about a lot of the fighters that have come up from Bellator since Bellator folded, but at the end of the day, the level of competition in Bellator, especially in that bantamweight division, is not on par as it is in the UFC. There's definitely exceptions, but Patchy going into this fight was saying, bro, I'm gonna submit you, and I'll submit your jiu-jitsu coach too. And I look at Mario Batista, battle tested, not exactly a guy with the most glamorous names or anything like that on his resume, but he's been fighting in this division, one of the toughest divisions in the sport, for a number of years. For Patchy just to dismiss his first opponent in the UFC, not smart. And the proof is in the pudding. Patchy, this great submission artist, who I respect, I think he's pretty good, but he had zero control time. I mean, that kind of tells you. And
Do you think
looking
it
at
could have been his corner, his coaches with the strategy they put together that
possibly,
they didn't go
I
for
also think
control time?
I didn't really listen in between rounds. Like
Yeah.
I'm at Dave and Buster's in like where I forget which town I was in, the Woburn Mall. So I'm talking to my buddy,
Yeah. Yeah.
shooting the shit with people next door, like that sort of thing. So I didn't listen, but to me, it looked like he was over one on takedown. So he went for one effing takedown. So what it looks like to me is he's like, oh, I'm in the UFC now. I'm going to prove a point and show him I can strike. And that effing backfired on
Yeah,
him
that definitely
horribly.
backfired.
And also, when you look at, they might not have even. It looked to me in the third round he was trying to get takedowns. But they were weak, like weak. So it looks to me like he's trying to strike, not really winning that battle. Then he's trying to get the takedown when they were both slippery, and he's getting tired, and that just wasn't a winning formula for him.
Now, I had chosen Batista beforehand because he has uh 6 straight wins, I believe, 5
Yeah,
straight
exactly.
wins. So I was surprised that he came into this fight as the underdog,
Hmm.
because he's been in the UFC. He's shown that he could perform in the UFC. He outstruck Patchy Mix. He had 173 total strikes
Yeah.
to 122. He had 173 significant strikes to
Uh-huh.
122, and then 96 head strikes to
Yeah.
92. And then, the body is what seemed to make the difference. He had 58 body strikes to only 14 for Patchy
Hmm.
Mix. Um, Patchy Mix from here, where do you think he goes? Do you think
Um,
they'll put him on a fight night? Do you think
I mean,
he'll
I doubt we'll see him in a pay per view, but
No, I wouldn't put him on a pay-per-view.
he has to take a step back. They're gonna put him a little further down the rankings. Try to get like at the end of the day, Patchy Mix he's one
There's
of the
so
few
many.
fighters that the UFC brought in from another promotion that actually has name recognition and name value. He's got a look, people like him, etc. So they're gonna give him something where it's not gonna be as challenging of a fight. He'll try to get him a win and then maybe throw him back in the deep end. But I expect he'll probably be on a fight night. He might One thing they might do is put him on a prelim of a pay per view and let him be like the feature fight of the prelims. Try and get his name back out there. Get him get him a guy with a little bit of name value that isn't quite as dangerous. Like these guys you got coming in, especially in this
Yeah.
division, you
He's a
got him
young
coming
guy.
in on like a
Yeah.
7-fight win streak. That dude's I don't care who you are. I mean, I don't know if all those wins are in the UFC, but if you're fighting in the UFC, you're riding a 7-fight win streak. I don't care who you are. You are
Now
dangerous. You are
this
dangerous to anyone. You are dangerous to anyone in that division.
this
So
was his first fight in the UFC,
yeah, exactly.
and he
It
was
was his
yeah, it was his
opponent.
first fight.
Is his opponent's first fight in the UFC?
No, Patchy Mix, it was his first
Oh
fight,
no, oh I know with Patches. So yeah, and
and
one thing a
he
lot
he
of
was
people.
the Bellator champion.
Oh, I know, but
Yeah,
one thing that you don't that doesn't get enough credit. For me, and I've been there. I know it's a real thing. Those pre-fight UFC jitters. It's different when you're fighting in that octagon and
yeah,
you have all those cameras around you. And for me, I was
yeah.
fighting in empty auditorium. Empty auditorium. Some friends and family were there, and freaking Dana. Like, I'm sorry, it's nerve wracking. It's a
Of
different
course.
kind of pre-fight jitters. So I think it kind of showed in Patch's performance. He tried to prove a point, and he got
You got
slapped.
waylaid. Yep.
He got slapped. He got de-slapped.
So the next fight was in the middleweight division. It was Kelvin Gastelum, who was 20-10
Yep.
against Joe Pfeiffer,
Piper.
14
Joe Piper.
Pfeiffer, 14-3. This again was a unanimous decision. Again, with the little wonky scoring, one judge had it 30-27, another judge had it 29-27, and then another one had it 29-28. From the numbers, strictly looking at it,
The 29-28 tells me that they took a point away from. Oh, I remember this actually. They took a point away from Joe Piper.
they did take a point away. Okay.
Yeah.
So Joe obviously dominated the fight. He
Yeah.
had 58 total strikes. He had 57 significant strikes to only 33 for Kelvin. And then the main difference was 44 head strikes to only 13 for Kelvin. Control on the ground was only 31 seconds. Kelvin had 27 seconds. And Joe was 1 for 2 for takedowns. And Kelvin was 0 for 1. But it was a unanimous decision. Joe is young. He's 28 years old. He is now 14-3, which is good. And he has had all his fights in UFC, and he is now 4-1 in his last 5 fights.
Mm-hmm.
He is in a tough division, as we've talked about. Where do you see him going from here? Especially being a middleweight, because the middleweight is one of the stacked divisions in the UFC right now.
I have a few thoughts on this fight. Couple things. So one thing, like all week, and like I'm a big Kelvin Gastelum fan, but at the end of the day,
Oh, you are? Okay.
yeah. But at the end of the day, he is an undisciplined fat kid that should be fighting at welterweight. It just is what it is. Like and here's the thing. I don't. But I know what these guys go through.
He's an undisciplined fat kid.
He is. He should be fighting welterweight.
He's
He should be
185
fighting at
pounds.
welterweight. He's an undisciplined fat kid. Like he's an undisciplined fat kid who's tough, has a coconut for a head, and he wrestled Division 1. Okay?
What?
No. So like,
what's the difference between the welterweight?
Let me speak, Steven.
I just wanted to know the difference between the weights.
Oh, welterweight's 170, middleweight's 85.
Oh, okay. All right. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So all week, like I've been kind of My gambling this week was atrocious. I should have listened to myself, but
You should have listened to me.
I should listen to myself. Like I knew I was being stupid. I knew I was picking with my head, my heart, not my head.
I told you to pick Holland. I told you to pick Batista, and I told you to pick Harrison, and then I told you to pick Bella.
Shut up! All right, let me process my trauma, Steve. So okay, so
that kid. That sounds like someone you say to someone on the bus.
I mean, I would. So long story short, I think the days of Kelvin being able to get by, like, because don't get me wrong, great athlete, tough as nails. Like I said, coconut for a head, good striker, good wrestler, but he's undersized for middleweight division. Like I remember when I was watching the fight,
I
started thinking like he really does look like a fat dude now. Like he looks like a fat guy fighting at the bar now.
So how do you expect him to get down to welterweight?
You could lose. It's easy to fucking cut pounds.
You think he could cut down? Okay.
If he was disciplined, yes. Dude, listen, it was one of the unhealthiest things I've ever done. But I went from 253 pounds
I know,
to 205 in 10 weeks.
Which
it was stupid.
Impossible.
It was stupid for me. Going into a fight that underweight, that depleted, with that much pressure on me.
You looked emaciated, yeah.
I was emaciated, and
you looked emaciated.
I was and I was freaking out mentally. But okay, not for anything. But for real, Kelvin does look like a fat dude bar fighter now. He's not. He doesn't even look like the elite. Like his arms and shoulders aren't jacked anymore. He doesn't look like the elite athlete anymore.
So did he fight at welterweight before?
Dude, he was a freight train before. Even when he was like still a fat dude fighting should be fighting at welterweight, he still was like big and jacked and was like having these great fights.
Did he fight though at welterweight before?
What?
Did he fight as a welterweight before?
I believe he has fought at welterweight before.
Okay.
I believe he's on the Ultimate Fighter at welter. I could be wrong, but I think he was on the Ultimate Fighter at welterweight.
Okay. All right. That makes sense then. I did not know that.
Like, as he's getting older, you know, like, you look at him, like, this reinforces my lazy fat kid theory. His arms he's not thick in the arms and the shoulders anymore. It doesn't look like he's putting the work in. It just doesn't.
Well, I mean, he's lost 3 out of his last 5.
Exactly. All right, but
they have been by decision.
My point being, look at Joe Pyfer. That dude he looks like he carved out granite. And
he looked completely different.
Elite submission fighter. Submission fighter. And you think I'll give a new nickname. You think half-ass Gastelum is going to be a guy that's that big and that disciplined and that on top of his game? This is and honestly, Joe Pyfer, he's been making noise. This fight was kind of a coming out party for him.
Yeah, no, he looked incredible.
Exactly.
It looked honestly like he had much more determination, much more energy, and he gave a lot more effort than Kelvin.
He looked like he was much better prepared as well.
Yes, much more prepared. Like he had a plan going in, he executed, he didn't deviate from it. The only thing that surprised me was he wasn't able to get a finish. I thought he had a couple chances to get a finish. And he did not.
What did I just say, Steve? Kelvin Gastelum.
He's got a head like a coconut
for a head.
Yes.
He's got that dude. And listen, your career longevity isn't going to be great when using your head as a battering ram to block, using your face to block punches. Legitimately, it's a major part of his strategy. And again, I should listen to myself. I've seen this clip like 10 times this week or last week. It was an interview with Sean Strickland, and he's going, "Listen, guys, I think Izzy's that good." He's talking about Israel Adesanya. He said, what, you had a war with Kelvin Gastelum? And he goes, I spar with Kevin. I spar with him for years. He's not that good. He goes, guys, Izzy just isn't that good. So that kind of resonated with me.
Wow.
And like he's like, yeah, like the
Izzy's
whole
not that good.
the whole undisciplined stigma that Kelvin Gastelum has really seems to be deserved when you have guys who are truly elite, like Strickland. And that's the thing. Strickland's truly elite, and he's lost 2 in a row.
He has. No, he has. I
But
agree.
again, that's
And I
to the
know
champion of the
you're a
that's to
fan.
the champion of the world.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Kelvin's
No, I
it's
agree.
like the fight where Izzy and Kelvin had that war. It's probably Kelvin's finest performance of his career, and since then he's gone steadily downhill.
Right. Right. No, I agree. Um, so what do you think is going to be next for Joe Pfeiffer?
Joe's going up.
Like,
Joe's
yeah.
ready for a top 5 fight. Joe's. You got to throw Joe in the deep end now because you know he's got the look. He's got the fight IQ. He's been showing out in his fights. So I mean, you gotta move him up. You gotta give him an interesting matchup now.
But again, it's in that middleweight division that's absolutely stacked.
Everyone's a stud.
So,
At
so
middleweight, everyone's a
where do you put
stud.
him?
So I mean,
Do you put him against Usman?
Strickland's lost 2 title fights in a row, so he's kind of in no man's land right now.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
that makes sense.
I don't know if Piper's ready for Strickland, but it would be the fight. It would be one of the fights to make.
And he's young. He's only 28 years old, so
Yeah.
he's got some time. Do you
Yeah.
see him taking another fight or two this year, or one fight this year for the rest of the remainder of the
We're
2025?
we're in June. He just fought. I mean, he'll fight at least one more time, if not twice. So
Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. So the upset of the night, but not really, because in the rare case, the champion came in the underdog. I picked this all the way because I am a huge Kayla Harrison fan. Kayla Harrison won the women's bantamweight title. She is 19-1. She defeated Juliana Pena, who is one of is she the only one that has ever beaten Amanda Nunes?
Hell no.
I think she is.
I want to say no, but I could be wrong. Did Valentina ever beat her? Did they have a trilogy?
No.
Okay.
Shevchenko never beat her. No. I thought Juliana was the only one who did, and it was because she had COVID or whatever. Nunes had COVID. This was just an epic beatdown. Kayla Harrison
It was.
came out on a different level than
Kayla Pena. Dude, Kayla weighed like she was between 150 and 160 when she fought, dude. She was huge. Like, you see her
Are you serious?
Picture? Bro, look, like, if you look at her, she does not look human in her weigh-in picture. She absolutely does not look human. She is so sucked out for the official weigh-in. Then they showed her the ceremonial weigh-in. She looked like she gained like freaking 15 pounds, bro.
So the weigh-in, are they Friday nights?
No, they're Friday morning.
So they're Friday mornings. Okay. So you're
like
telling me
they're early on Friday. You have all day to rehydrate. Then you have the ceremonial weigh-in about 24 hours before. And
what's the ceremonial weigh-in?
They announce the weight. The fight.
Oh, so you already know what your weight is.
Yeah. You step on they have like a scale set up. They step on and Joe Rogan yells official weight, blah blah blah, and then they face the.
But they already know it.
Yeah. They've already made weight.
Okay.
They've already made weight. They have the official weigh-in in the morning. Then the afternoon they have ceremonial weigh-in, and yeah.
But now I've seen situations where they've done, if fighters have not made weight at the ceremonial weigh-in, will they have another bite at the apple to try to make weight?
No. You mean the official weigh-in? What happens at the official weigh-in? It changes state by state, but generally, if you miss weight your first attempt, you have, I believe they give you, depending on the commission, an hour or 2 hours to cut the additional weight.
Oh,
Then
that's
you
it.
weigh in again. Then, if
Jeez.
you miss weight, there's several options. They can
They can
refuse
do
the
a
fight.
catch weight fight.
They can cancel the fight. Number one. Number two, the
They get
they can
fined part
go
of their
they
purse
all right. They go to the opponent and they say, "Will you accept the fight?"
as a catch weight.
They can just accept it outright, or they can accept it and get 30% of the fight that missed weight, get their purse.
Right.
30% of their
Right.
purse.
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty much what happens.
But the title would not change hands in that situation.
If one of the fighters did not make weight, yes, that's
Right.
correct.
Okay. So you really would have nothing to lose if the fighter didn't make weight.
Yeah.
So you're telling me Kayla Harrison did her weight cut
Yeah.
and then she ballooned what? An extra 10 pounds, 20 pounds?
I'd
By
say
the time
probably
fight night?
between 10 and 20, probably.
Jesus. So how is that done? Is it done purely by hydration? Is it done by food?
So
Like how,
I'll
protein
get so
shakes?
the weeks leading up to a fight, you're dieting down. For me, and I would do this when I couldn't. When I did a couple catchweight fights at
Yes,
225 pounds, and those were that way. If there's a 225 weight class, I would do that weight class because it was perfect for me.
that's
But
manageable. Okay.
yeah. So what you do is you diet down. For me, it was my carbs were heavily restricted, and I was eating a protein and fat-rich diet. I would have fruit right before I worked out and right after I worked out. You just and the weight would melt off. I'd usually be pretty lean, and then when you get to about 30-ish hours before, you start the water cut. Generally, guys will cut all the weight, then go to sleep. Other guys, or other people rather, I should say, will get really close, like within like 5 pounds, go to sleep, wake up, then cut the remaining whatever it is.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay.
Because like you cut all that weight, you can't really drink water. So like it's very uncomfortable to sleep. So if you leave a little bit, you can sip a little bit of water. It's much easier to sleep.
So this was just a dominant performance from the start. She
Oh
was favored for a
God.
reason. The betting in Vegas went heavily towards her side. She had
Oh,
59 total strikes compared to 15 to Juliana Pena, 30 significant strikes to 9 Juliana Pena, 17
oh,
headshots, 8 to Juliana Pena, 9 body shots compared to
oh,
1 for
oh.
Juliana Pena, and
Dude,
she had
dude.
6 minutes of control
I know.
and 2 for 3
Dude,
of takedowns, and she
dude.
wins by the ultimate submission, the Kimura.
Bro,
Were you surprised
bro.
by this fight?
Dude, I don't think Julia looked like she didn't even fucking train.
Well, it looked like
Excuse
there
my
was just a
French.
ghost of Juliana.
She fought like absolute dog shit. And like,
Do you think she
all right,
underestimated her because of the Bellator situation or the PFL situation?
maybe, but like, honestly, Juliana looked very poorly prepared. And
Right.
like,
I
here's the other
agree.
thing. Here's the other thing.
She did not
As
look like she
much
wanted to be there.
as I dislike Kayla on a personal level, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of my Eskimo sister, but
Is it just because she was rude to you in the locker room?
oh no, I can't get into this, but
Oh, okay.
okay, her and I like we're Eskimo siblings.
I don't know what that means. Oh, okay. Got you. Good.
Yeah,
Oh, so that made it awkward. Okay. But that should make you not like her.
bro. We're not gonna talk about this on air. Off
Okay.
air, I'll have a
Okay.
conversation with you, but
Okay.
we're not talking
I
about
mean,
this on air.
it wouldn't make me not like her. It would just make me
Bro, I will talk again.
okay.
I will talk to you off air.
Okay. All right. But as far as her
Okay.
performance
No.
goes,
So
were you
like
surprised by it?
thing I wanted to say. I mean, personal feelings aside, we have to look at this, and for me, like to me, the way just the eye test. To me, it looked like Juliana looked like shit. She looked like she didn't even train. So
She
you
did.
have to sit.
She did not look
So you
good.
have to sit back and look at it and say, was it that Juliana was that bad, or is it that Kayla's just that effing good? And honestly, I'm starting to lean towards Kayla's just that good.
I think Kayla is
Yeah,
that
like
good,
as
but
much as I want to be like F her, da, 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 you can't deny it. She's a beast. She's a beast.
you got to
You can't
remember
deny it. You
that
can't deny it. You cannot
she
deny it.
she beat Amanda Nunes in 2021. She lost to her in 2022, and then she gets the belt back. She has two title defenses against Pennington and Harrison, who she loses against.
Yeah.
It wasn't the easiest of road. She wasn't
No.
particularly dominant throughout. Um, so I mean, I
But
think she was
bro,
overrated
bro,
somewhat to
no, no,
begin
no.
with.
I don't. I don't want to say she's overrated, but yeah. Again, keep in mind, you're like, oh, she looked dominant. These are the best of the best in the effing world.
No, I
These are
agree.
the
I
best
agree.
fighters. These are the
I
best
agree.
100, 135-pound female fighters in the world.
I'm not disputing that. I agree. I
So,
agree.
so I mean, it's not
She
like
wasn't ready. She wasn't ready for it.
it's gonna be very hard to absolutely dominate the best of the best of the best.
But
So I
Tyler,
mean,
what situation have you seen where the challenger has come in such an overwhelming favorite as far as betting
I
on?
know, I know, I know. I've seen it
I haven't
before.
seen it.
I've seen it once. I'd say like once or twice before. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that
it's
tells a story.
super irregular. It's not
Yes,
the norm.
yes, and that's what tells the story. And Kayla Harrison, how far ahead do you see her? And do you see her fighting Amanda Nunes in her next fight?
Oh, they already announced she's fighting Amanda.
They did
Amanda,
announce it.
her.
Okay.
Well, Steve, I don't know if you were watching, but her and Amanda faced off in the cage
No,
after.
I saw them face off. I just didn't know if they would give her Amanda immediately
Oh, they will.
or
No,
they would give.
there's no other fight to make. There's
That's what I
no
was saying.
other fight to make.
The women's division is a clusterfuck. So
Yeah.
I agree. There is no other fight to
Well,
make,
just
and there's no other reason for Amanda to come out of retirement, right?
yeah. It
Yeah.
really is the only viable. It is really the only viable fight for Amanda at this point. Like,
Do you think if Amanda were to win that she would retire again, or do you think
yeah,
that she'd? Oh, she would. Okay.
she most likely will. Amanda's
Yeah.
the go. I mean, she's the consensus goat of women's MMA. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. But a big win for Kayla Harrison. She was the favorite. She did her job. She came in. She dominated. Second round submission. Wins the women's bantamweight title. Um, really, with just not much time in the second round, she just came out and dominated. So
yeah,
kudos to her.
pretty much.
Kudos to her. The main event, which was very interesting, and I was excited for this because I despise Sean O'Malley, and I knew he was going to lose. He lost in a third round submission by a very interesting guillotine choke. Marab, I felt, just dominated throughout this entire fight. He would have won by decision. I don't think he needed to do much more in the last two rounds. He really showed his strength and ability, and Sean O'Malley was clearly outmatched throughout this entire fight. What were your thoughts?
Uh,
I mean, he had
I was
6 minutes
expecting
of
more out of
control.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Listen, like I I've met Marab several times.
Yes.
Have I told the story of Marab against my teammate?
Yes, you have. Yes.
So I have met Marab. I've been to his gym. I have watched Marab take a very, very promising MMA prospect and turn him
sent him
into
in
an
the
epic
clergy.
priest. Turn him
He
into a
sent him in the
priest.
cler-
So I mean,
He sent him in the
honestly,
clergy.
I thought Sean would have more for him. I really did.
Well,
But
you're a fanboy for Sean O'Malley. I know that
I'm
for
not a
sure.
fanboy. I recognize. Listen, I watched Sean win the title. I really
He
like
did.
seeing Sean coming out of the contender series. I I was kind of like whatever, but he like embraced that personality, embraced his skill set, and he just ran with it. And he has built this great following, this great career, and
I
like
mean,
no,
yeah,
like
he had,
no, Steve, not for nothing. You don't see bantamweights put guys out with one punch the way Sugar Sean does. So
yeah, I agree.
I felt like that was really the X factor in this fight was Sugar Sean's stopping power. He knocks guys dead. So I figured, hey, he'll be able to keep the like he's long too for that division. He's extremely long. So I thought he'd be able to keep better distance and be able to snipe Marab. Like I thought Marab would get inside. I thought Marab would get the takedown. I just was expecting Sean to be so effing useless in the clinch. Like Sean was useless in the clinch,
Well, he
useless
had
on the
such a
ground.
height advantage on him, and I expected more out of
He
him
did
too.
use a height and reach advantage. He didn't utilize it properly.
No, not at all. Not at
So
all.
I mean, I hate
It was
like
a
I
waste.
thought Sean. I thought what Sean would have done, and like he spoke about, I gave up porn, I gave up weed, I gave up all this, I gave up side bitches, I gave up partying. Like I thought Sean would be dialed in. I thought his ground game would be better. I thought he'd be able to get that separation and land a KO shot. Wasn't the case. Marab, here's the other thing about Marab. He is a grinder. He
Oh
works.
yeah,
He is
yeah,
constantly working.
yes.
And I
He's
think the
ferocious.
really interesting thing about this fight was Marab's evolution. Marab, he wasn't particularly great on the feet offensively, but defensively, he wasn't getting hit with big shots. He
No,
was
he
closing the
protected himself.
distance, getting Sean in the clinch, and forcing the fight to where he had a very marked advantage. So I mean, kudos to Ray Longo, Marab's head coach. Kudos to John. Is it John Clark? It's not John Clark. I can't remember the head coach at Syndicate, who's become Marab's other coach or head coach, and the former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling, who's also in
Yes,
Marab's corner.
yes, he
I,
was.
I
Yeah.
I really just think that they put together a great game plan, and Marab has just he's shown improvement, he's shown evolution, and it was just very apparent in this fight how Sean didn't really look that much better, especially on the ground. But
He didn't
Rob
look
looked
improved.
really
Yep.
good everywhere. Like
Yeah.
his defense on the feet was spot on. You can't like
No, I agree.
he's a
I
freight train. Like Rob's a freight train that's going forward, and everyone at 135 better get off the tracks.
I have never liked O'Malley because I thought he got a title shot way too early in his career. I thought UFC was trying to push him, obviously,
All
because
right,
they needed to make him start.
Steve. How can you say he got a title shot way too early in his career when he won by knockout in the second round?
No, he did. I'm just saying that he had only one previous fight in the UFC beforehand,
Are you
and that
kidding
was my
me?
concern.
He had a lot of previous fights in the UFC.
He does. He did.
Yeah, he he won a contender. He was like 3-0 or 4-0, maybe a little more, or like 4-1 or something when he fought
Oh,
contender series. Won on contender series.
oh, you're
Then he's
right. You're
fought
right.
a bunch
Okay.
of fights in the
Okay.
UFC.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I see it now. I see it now. Yep, he had plenty of fights. Oh wow, I didn't know he was fighting since 2018. Okay. Okay, I just don't like the guy. So that was why. I didn't think that he had a shot here. I like Marab. I like his style. He is a spider monkey. He's all over you, and he proved why he's the champion. And this was the second loss for O'Malley against Marab. Do you think that O'Malley gets a third bite at the apple? And what do you think the difference was between this fight and last fight? Okay.
Sean O'Malley.
There's so many bantamweight contenders.
Sean O'Malley is going to have to win at least
2 to 3 fights.
Yeah. 3 fights before he gets another before he gets a sniff for the title again. He needs at least 3. He'd have to win at least 3 or 4 fights before he gets another title shot.
What about Marab? Who do you see him going against in the bantamweight division?
Corey Sandhagen. That's a fight to make. Is him versus Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah, because Aldo's gone. Frankie Edgar, nah. Peter Yan.
Sandhagen.
Okay.
Also, though, Peter Yan is I don't. They may have already fought, but Peter Yan. No, they did fight. He beat Peter Yan.
So it was a good show. We got to see the title change with Kayla Harrison. I thought that was impressive. And I just want to quickly go through. We'll talk about it more at length later this week for UFC Fight Night. Looks to be a very, very good card.
Oh yeah, baby.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they're back to 5 on the main card. Just quickly, Alonzo Menafield versus Omar Sy, who's 11-0. Wow. Alonzo is 16-5-1.
You want to go back. Look at the last 2 fights of the prelims, because this card's just a banger. That welterweight fight, Michael Chiesa versus Court McGee. That fight has Fight of the Night written all over it. Michael Chiesa, Court McGee. Court McGee, one of the toughest humans to ever fight in the octagon, with game to go with it. Versus
23,
Michael
13,
Chiesa versus Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa. You look up dog in the dictionary. There's a picture of a canine. Then there's a picture of there's a picture of Michael Chiesa. Just a dog. Just a skillful fighter.
What do you think?
I love that fight.
He's gonna win? You think he's gonna win?
Yeah, I give that fight to Chiesa. You want to
hold your opinion? Okay.
Yeah, I give that fight to Chiesa.
Paul Craig.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about Rodolfo Belletta, but Paul Craig's just the animal. I love watching research on that. Fight. I hope he comes out with that Braveheart paint again. That's always badass when he does that. Yeah. I love those 2 fights.
Alonzo Menafield versus Omar Sy, who's undefeated. It's a light heavyweight bout.
Alonzo's a good fighter. I like Alonzo Menafield a lot. But what do I always say, Steve? You got the Russian sounding name.
I know. Mansour Abdul Malik, who is from the USA, versus Cody.
Wait,
yeah. Mansour Abdul Malik, who is listed from the USA, is fighting Cody Brundage, who's also 11-6. Mansour is 8-0. Any pick there?
I know nothing about. Again,
That's fine.
I mean, I like Brundage. I like Brundage, but I know nothing about our USA Mansour. Dude, that guy's from like Iran.
Yeah, I know.
He was like a lifelong wrestler, and they're like, oh, Move to the USA. We'll sponsor you.
Yeah, and this is a good matchup here. Cody, I'm a big fan of. I like Cody Garbrandt, who's 14-6, versus Ranoni Barcelos, who's Brazilian, 19-5-0. It's a bantamweight matchup.
Yeah,
Any
well,
thoughts there?
I'm looking
I've
at his
watched Cody
I'm
fight
looking at his
before.
topology right now. The only name on his I'm looking through his past opponents. The only
Yeah.
name that really sticks out is Umar Nurmagomedov, and
Oh
he lost.
wow,
He got knocked out by Umar. He lost
wow.
to Kyler Phillips by decision, and he submitted Christian Quinones by rear naked choke in the third round in Mexico City. Oh, and then he beat Peyton Talbot by decision at UFC 311. So very up and down fighter.
Okay.
Looks to me like they're kind of giving Cody. No, I mean the guy's freaking good, but he's not exactly the murderer that you see in the bantamweight division in that top 15. So I mean, it looks like they're giving Cody a fight, try to get him back on track. Cody's lost 3 in a row, won one, lost 2 in a row, won 2 in a row. Now he's coming off a loss. So he's not really in danger of getting cut or anything like that. So it looks to me like they gave him the least dangerous guy they could
Yeah.
that's in the top 15.
All
Because
right.
the UFC wants Cody, a former champion,
To
to kind of
succeed.
have a resurgence. They
Yeah.
need, and now, after, well, that's Kayla. I mean, right now, it looks like right now that Barab's going to be on Reign of Terror for a little
Yes.
while.
Yeah.
So they want exciting guys that they can market to challenge
They do. They
Barab.
do. And we'll
So
we'll talk more in depth
yeah,
about it.
so they're gonna give Cody fights that he can win,
He can
but
win to boost
he's
his
gonna hit the
record.
deep
Yep.
end. He wins this fight, he hits the deep end again, and
Yep.
then you know
We'll see what happens.
exactly. I mean, he's
Um,
coming off a loss to
yep.
Davidson Figueiredo, who did look good in his last fight, but I mean, he's still an absolute
Uh,
killer. But
right. We'll talk more
we'll
about it.
see.
Middleweight, Edmund versus Andre Petrosky, 13-4-0. It's a middleweight matchup.
Yeah,
Edmund is 14-5-0, and he is the favorite going in.
yeah. I this was all Edmund.
Good.
Trotsky. I mean, a little bit of an unknown. Solid record. He's coming off 3 straight wins. His
Oh,
last win
good.
versus Rodolfo Vieira, impressive win. It was by decision, but still, anytime you beat Rodolfo Vieira, very impressive. So I mean, yeah, this is gonna be
We'll do more
an exciting
research
fight.
on.
This fight is a little bit of a gate. The opponent's not
Deceptive.
a gatekeeper, but I call this a gatekeeper fight because the UFC's been really high on Edmund for a real long time. So Edmund gets this win and breaks through. It's top five. It's big matchups coming up.
And the next big fight, Rose Namajunas, love Rose, 14-7-0
Rose.
versus Miranda Maverick. That is a great name.
Isn't
That
that
is
a
a
great
great
name?
name.
That
Yeah.
girl's got game too. Miranda Maverick, I believe she's coming off 5 straight wins. I mean, she's just a killer. And you
Yeah,
got
yeah, for
Rose.
sure.
Rose, I mean, up and down, former
She's been
champion.
up and down. She was a former champ. Yep.
Excuse me. You know, beat Zhang. I mean, she's the one that beat Zhang Wei Li twice. I
She
mean,
did. And
god
vicious battles.
damn. But then, lost her belt to Carla Esparza, which is kind of gross.
Yeah, I know.
And then,
I
excuse
mean,
me,
I
excuse me.
gotta go with Rose. I gotta go with Rose.
I go with Rose too, but I mean, she's coming off a loss. Darren Blanchfield, and she looked pretty blah in that fight. part of me wonders. Rose has definitely had a lot of psychological trauma in her life, and you know, there's a lot of whispers out there about the relationship between Rose and I believe now husband, Pat Barry. They met when Pat was pretty old and Rose was very young, and the word groomer has been used. So I mean,
All right. Allegedly, the word rumor's been used.
No, no. Yes, the allegation is alleged,
Allegedly, you
but
have
the
to say
word has
allegedly.
definitely been used.
Groomer, yes.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
just throw allegedly
listen,
so we don't get sued.
I don't want to comment on that because like from an outside looking in, I would look at the relationship between Pat Barry and Rose, and I thought they had like this dynamite, dynamic, super loving
Yeah,
relationship. But again,
and it
that's the
was not that.
surface. You
Not
don't
that.
know what goes on behind closed doors.
No,
You
you
don't
don't.
know the kind of psychological, you know,
No,
baggage she has from that. So a big part of me wonders is if her mental illness, along with
Yeah,
all the pressure of being she's at such a high level. I'm just wondering if it's all imploding on her mentally at this point.
yeah. The autoerotica and asphyxiation. That's tough. That's a tough one.
Wow, Steve,
Kamari Usman.
you just went you just went to left field with that one. But
Yeah,
hey,
I did.
that's you.
Kamari Usman, who was the best of the best at one point. Kamaru Usman, who was the best of the best at one point, versus Joaquin Buckley.
Yep.
This is a welterweight, again, a stacked division. What do you see here, just briefly?
Joaquin Buckley is coming off 6 straight wins,
Yeah,
including
and
he took a dump in Colby Covington's eyeball.
yeah,
So
he did take a dump,
before
and
that, he knocked out Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson. Before that, he won a decision against Nerlson Ruzabov. Who look at that name. That guy can wrestle. Before that, he knocked out Vicente Luque. Before that, had 2 more wins.
no, listen, I'm taking Buckley
I am
because
too.
Usman has lost his last 3 fights. Two
Yup.
of them came against champion
Yup.
Leon Edwards,
Yup.
and I would take Usman all the way. But we'll talk
Honestly, I
more.
think I would think that if Joe Corn wins this, he's probably fighting Jack next.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great
Probably.
matchup. I think that'd
Yeah.
be a great matchup.
He's probably fight. He wins this fight. He's probably fighting Jack Della Belladonna, excuse me.
All right, so I will. I'll text you later for 4 comments. Meth, hello, recorded stream, bye. Oh, okay. So I will.
Do you have any good comments?
Just meth, hello, recorded stream, bye. That was the comments. So I don't know who it was. So I will message you for Rebel Republic tonight.
What time we doing Rebel Republic?
Just plan on 9:30, 9:45. It just depends when
what you
we
tell
get
me
started.
is I'm gonna finish sparring. I'm gonna go to the corner pub. I'm gonna have a
Oh, you got to go and you got to whatever you did last week, do again. It was the hilarious fucking thing in the world. When you look like you were in the woods of Afghanistan or Russia.
I was literally parked outside
it was the
the corner
greatest thing
pub.
ever. It was the
I was parked
greatest
outside
thing
the corner
ever.
pub.
People thought you were a neo-Nazi. It was awesome. You got more comments and feedback than anyone. It was great.
Good.
So I just have to mention Ned Von Young and Fresh Fold Laundry Company, just outside of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. They offer a high-end laundry service. You book online, you drop your laundry off. It's washed, dried, folded for you at Land Speed Records. Then you come and you pick it up. They have deals for college students. They also have an online subscription model, weekly or bi-weekly. You can come, drop your laundry off, same deal. It's washed, dried, folded for you, and picked up. For more information, go to their website, freshfold-laundry.com. For the Marauder Tyler King, all he does is train, teach class, beat that ass, and then he'll pound it into submission vigorously.
Into submission.
Afterwards. I'm Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the
Oh,
universe.
yeah.
Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.